Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another amazingly awesome episode of the S-4 Paranormal Bunker.
Yeah.
Tonight, as always, we have in the studio here me, your host, Cole Wegleitner, my wife, Kayla Wegleitner, my son, John Wegleitner.
Most intelligent.
And a little spider that's probably going to say more than most of us. Friend, outside of the studio, of course, we always, as always, have Nikki Jacobs, Robert White, and Rosella C. Rowe.
Hello.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Pretty good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So tonight we are talking Poltergeists.
Ghouls and gals.
Before we start, though,
Yes.
number one, it is September 11th.
Yes.
So to all those that lost people in that horrible day, and the days afterwards connected to it, our hearts go out to you. For sure.
Deepest condolences.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the paranormal world, unfortunately this week we lost one of our own. A longtime guest of the show, Michael C. Hall, passed away last week.
Yes.
W.
W. Hall. I'm
W.
sorry.
C. Hall.
Michael C. Hall is he's not dead, guys. Don't worry. I'm not Facebook. I'm not going to predict that one for him. But that's fucking hilarious that I put a C there. Sorry, Michael. Does anyone even remember who Michael C. Hall is?
Wrestler?
No.
Weird Science.
Huh.
Oh. I was wondering.
Weird Science
Quick,
and
checking for both.
Breakfast Club. But Michael Hall, the paranormal lawyer, friend, one of the originals from with Nikki at the UFOI Club. Friend,
I-team.
I-team, sorry.
UFO I-team, dear.
Wow, you are just on a roll tonight.
Wow.
Man.
Yes.
I'm going to finish off with also the man who always taught us eat at Denny's, where Columbia eats. No, I mean, America.
Was that refresh?
No, he was always a great guest to have on the show. He was a great guy. And
We met him on several occasions. We actually did a Christmas party with him one year that was actually a lot of fun.
he introduced Kayla's mother to swinging.
And to what an upside down nap.
Yes, he's actually... Okay, so I will say that Michael Hall is the reason that my mother has a pineapple collection. Okay? So this is how funny this is. Okay.
Even I know what that means. That's bad.
So
Just exposing grandma.
no,
Sheltered woman. No.
we were doing oh god, what
A
is
white
it?
elephant.
A white elephant
exchange.
type gift exchange thing with a whole bunch of our friends, and my mother was there, and Michael was there, and we were all passing around and trying to steal each other's gifts and everything else. Well, my mom ended up with a pillowcase with a pineapple on it that said, like, have a nice day. And she was like, I love this pillowcase. I'm keeping this pillowcase.
But it was in Sequin.
Yes, it was
So-
a sequence
And
pillow.
if you flipped the sequins on it, it flipped the
It
pineapple.
flipped the pineapple upside down. Okay. So my mother my mother is a very sheltered person and had never heard of the fact that the pineapple being upside down meant anything.
Yeah.
So she was like, I love this pineapple thing, right? So she got it. So from then on, we started just buying her a bunch of little tiny pineapple stuff. But come to figure out that Michael was the one that had brought that because he thought it was hilarious. And he thought that, like, Eric or Izzy was going to get stuck with this upside down pineapple pillowcase thing. And... oh, it caused all kinds of weird stuff, but it was great.
Yeah. Now, like, we waited about 6 months and then actually told June what the pineapples meant. So now she's all about it. Like, she totally understands everything about it. So she got really excited when she went to the Walmart in Renton and found out they now lock up their pineapples.
Yeah.
Because the new thing is...
What?
If you take a pineapple and put it in your cart upside down up in the child seating area,
Oh my god!
it means you're available right now. So
Okay.
the grocery
I'm walking
stores are
around
finding-
Walmart and this happens
Yeah.
every-
So the grocery stores in the bigger cities are locking up their pineapples.
because they're finding pineapple all over the store in empty carts. Because what the other person has to do is come over and take your pineapple, turn it over, and that means you just walk out of the store with them.
Got an
Ugh.
So June's sister, our Aunt Jeep, is 87.
She's 84. 84.
And June's great plan is to not tell Jeep about this part of it, but just tell her right before Halloween and right before Christmas, make sure you bring a pineapple to the store or to the parties.
And if you put them upside down in the cart, it makes them fresher.
Yeah, she's going to tell them that all the juices will run to the bottom or top of the pineapple, making them so much more flavorful.
What happens if somebody approaches her
Well,
and
that's
just
the
says,
problem.
"Come with me"?
Aunt Jeep
Yeah.
is so
friendly.
That she'd be
that
like,
she'd just go.
oh, okay.
Yeah, just start
Your
talking to the
friends
person.
first.
Oh, this is going to cause so many problems.
She's also
I'm gonna
very
say, with
religious,
friends like
so
you guys, who needs enemies?
Once they start taking their clothes off, I'm pretty sure she's going to start freaking out a little bit. But
I mean, I hope that she can
I
run.
do have to say, I remember when my mom did finally figure out what that pineapple meant. She was like, oh, that paranormal lawyer, he hoodwinked me. I was like, oh my gosh.
and that's where I got to say, Michael gave us one of our favorite memories as a family, and that's awesome. Friend.
Yeah.
But he will be dearly missed, and thank you for everything, Michael. Friend.
And you can still find his archives on YouTube. The Paranormal Lawyer. He has been on SOR many times. And you can find some of the episodes with us and him on the original S4, which is also on YouTube.
And on Facebook, the UFOI team.
Is that still up?
I think so.
Okay. Friend.
And I'll tell you, he has
I don't
some
know
really...
who would have control over it.
No.
There's only one of possibly two people that would have control over that.
Yeah.
And he's got some really amazing stories. He went down to that, just because, honestly, at the beginning, he thought it was going to be funny. But he went down to that raid Area 51 just to check it out. And he did a live stream from there that was actually really cool.
Oh,
So-
no, he did multiple live streams from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friend.
He was there for a week.
It was a risky
Yeah, because he
man.
was texting me all about, like, all this different stuff that he saw when he was down there. It was actually pretty cool.
Friend.
Yeah, he was texting quite a few people, but yeah. There were a lot of things that he was doing down there.
Oh yeah.
So, on to our original topic, poltergeists.
Yes.
How many of you have dealt with one?
I've actually lived the house that I lived in prior to this, and the reason I moved actually was because we had one in the house. So it was definitely like a spirit, like one male entity, and he resided on the stairs. But like I've literally seen like a whole bin of toys. Like just I'm sitting on the couch in this room, and a whole bin of toys literally got picked up, like probably 6 feet in the air and hurled probably 6 to 9 feet across our whole family room. It was pretty bad. Pretty much ruined 2 microwaves. When we were moving and we were selling the house, my husband had to disconnect the new microwave because it kept going off, like with the timer kept going off all night long. You'd like wake up to like 3, 4 in the morning to it going off constantly. It would just randomly decide like, okay, we're going to, turn it on, and it wouldn't stop. So he disconnected it and it was still going off. Like it was horrible. The other microwave always said like, what would it always say? Like 132 or something like that, 134. And then would be left on that all the time until it finally broke. My husband and I had endless fights about that. One time I was I was just making a salad, and the doorbell rang. So I just left all my stuff, like utensils and everything, on the counter, went to answer the door, came back, and I had cherry tomatoes. They were smashed across the kitchen, over my trash can, and then literally going down the wall. Somebody had just smashed them all over the wall, and they were sliding down the wall with all the juices. And I was the only one in the house. And that would happen sometimes, things like that. If you answered the phone, if you just turned your back to the counter, all of your stuff would just be all over the floor. And it was just crazy. The weirdest thing is nothing ever happened with the TV, which is, I thought, the easiest thing to manipulate. But never the TV. The answering machine, was upstairs on, our phone. So I remember one time I came home and I heard 2 men talking upstairs. And I thought that it must be somebody leaving, a message on the machine, because I just came home and I was out. So I'm walking upstairs, and as I get closer and closer, I hear that these men are speaking, in my room, but in the closet, in the closed closet in my bedroom, in an old English style, sounded like Pride and Prejudice, the eyes and stuff like these. And it was really old English kind of thing. 2 men. I threw open the closet door. It stopped, and I never heard that again. But that really freaked me out. You would have a bowling ball, pretty much, it sounded like a bowling ball falling from my closet, every night after, pretty much some, we had a lot of deaths. We had a lot of crazy things, children getting ear infections, things like that. So it was just kind of hyped up. When things got really hyped up, this would grow to be every day. But when we also put up the house for sale, definitely this happened every single day. You'd be sleeping and 4 o'clock in the morning every single time. It sounded like a bowling ball falling from the ceiling inside my closet, and it's bam, hitting the back of the door. So loud. If we had guests sleeping in our house, on the other side of the house, they would come screaming and running in, and what the hell was that? And there was nothing to ever explain it. It's just crazy. So I have tons of stories. I actually plan on writing a book about what happened to me, because it's just off the wall nuts. And then there's times where I felt somebody was hovering over me, and woke me up. And I heard my children on the monitors, like the baby monitors, kind of moaning, and I knew they were sick. So that's the only time it was ever helpful. But that happened twice with both of my children, that they had ear infections and 104 temperatures, and I had to rush them to the emergency room in the middle of the night. That's the only time it was ever helpful. Like one time we were walking, like I remember I was running to get like one of my children's binkies. I ran down the stairs and I was running through the dining room to get to the kitchen where my child was. And we were kind of just like going to run out the door to go somewhere. We were late. And it felt like a hand go over my forehead and down my, like over my head, kind of down my back. And that was really scary. And then my brother experienced the same thing, standing in the same area and just talking to me when he was about to leave the house and saying goodbye. And he just suddenly just jumped, started screaming, saying, "What was that? What was that? Who just touched me?" And then ran out of my house. He was always the one who ran out of my house. It's pretty funny. But yeah, things would be constantly happening all the time. Footsteps, like banging on the stairs at night. If my husband like kissed me or something, you would hear like a tantrum on the stairs, like bang, 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 bang. And it was just so loud, like a little child throwing a tantrum, but like a big child. I mean, it was like an adult. So really crazy. I experienced a lot in the house. Just nuts. I could go on and on. It's 12 years of horribleness.
So
yeah.
The original term of poltergeist came from German folklore.
Okay.
Meaning rumbling ghost or noisy spirit. It's considered a type of ghost or spirit that is responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed. Manifestations have been recorded in many cultures and countries, including Brazil, Australia, the United States, Japan, and most European nations. The first recorded cases date back to the 1st century. Friend, I kind of have a little bit of that kind of makes pretty much almost every spiritual interaction with someone who doesn't have sensitivities to be poltergeist.
Huh.
Like most of the spiritual encounters that people have or claim to have include sound, and they're always loud. Well, not always. They always get, like, the Japanese ones always whisper or croak. But
Okay.
So there's a she was a young teenager. She's an adult now, but there was a teenager that I knew, and her mom and I were on the phone, and she was walking. She got pushed down the stairs. They had a spirit who essentially would get really, really pissed off over not getting attention. She was a 17-year-old spirit. Now, I know that's different than a poltergeist, but picking up water glasses and throwing them at the head of a person takes an enormous amount of power. And she would get
pushing a person. So from the beginning of that, it was a poltergeist.
Yeah, because they were trying to figure out what was going on within their home, and they were having all sorts of. I mean, it was typically the stairs going to there were 3 levels to that house, and it was typically the stairs that went from the main level to the upstairs bedrooms and bathroom. And it was typically on the stairs. And basically what I learned was that the 17-year-old spirit who was doing all of this lived on a piece of property, lived on that property long before it ever became a house. And she was every person that she came across that lived in that house, she didn't like. Well, she happened to like this family, but she wasn't getting the attention that she wanted. And so she would push people down the stairs, up the stairs. Robert knows this one, if I remember correctly. And
That
she
sounds
would
kind
do
of like what happened to me.
yeah, she would do all sorts of really nasty little things. And there was one time when the mom and I were on the phone, we were on a video call, and you hear the daughter yell because she got pushed down. The last 3 steps, she got pushed down the stairs and she had fallen. The last 3 steps, and she came around the corner. Mom asked her if she was okay, and I am now. I got pushed down the stairs. And she was pissed, and I got pissed. I was like, all right, that's it. Well, right after that, she comes around, the daughter comes around the corner from the stairs into basically what is the dining area. And a water glass was like a tumbler, glass tumbler was on the dining table. And it was picked up and thrown. The daughter was in the process of walking through the dining area into the kitchen, and it was thrown at the daughter's head. Now, granted, for whatever reason, the daughter turned around, had the instinct to turn around. It was like she knew it was coming. And I've always said that the daughter has gifts. I've always said that. Still believe that. And so you can hear the crash, the crash of the glass in the kitchen, and it missed the girl's, I think it was her right shoulder, if I remember correctly, right shoulder and part of her head by like a fraction of an inch. And because she said it whizzed. It sounded like it whizzed by her. There was a certain sound when it came by her ear. Anyway, it was that day that I ended up dealing with little Miss Poltergeist, she wanted attention, she got her attention, and it took about 24 hours, but got her to calm down, got her to actually come and talk to me, got her to quit putting her anger on the family, and especially the teenager. They were both 17 at the time. And a lot of it was the daughter had her own abilities and would pick up the energy of the other teen, the teen spirit. Mm-hmm. No pun intended with that, or however you want to say that. And would kind of talk to her, but not really talk to her. I don't know how else to explain that. Would just make little comments or do little things. And and when she got angry, it was typically on the stairs. It was there was something always about those stairs. And as far as I know, they don't have any more issues because the 17-year-old spirit eventually got crossed over, and boy, that was a whole nother subject. But you talk about anger issues with ghosts that can produce poltergeist. Like, she was slamming cabinet doors, she was turning electricity on and off, somebody would be walking down the stairs to the basement, the lights were on, they would shut them off, 1 or 2 stairs would she'd trip them up, and it was just, she wanted attention. And poltergeists don't necessarily, it's because they don't, if it's a spirit as a poltergeist that is producing that kind of energy, it usually comes from extreme anger and rage about something that has happened in their life, or it's a combination of built up energy, within the environment. And like when Rosella was talking about when she would kiss her husband and there would be a reaction from the other side, that's anger. It may have been, I mean, that's intense anger and rage over, it's very possible that it could be built up energy that there's not supposed to be. I mean, it's kissing. It's a form of affection. Well, a form of affection for a poltergeist, whoo, that can get wonky real fast. So, I'm no expert. I'm no expert on all of it. I just know what I've experienced and what I've seen and heard from others and have had to deal with. But it can be really frightening. It can be very, very frightening when it goes through, and especially when you're getting things thrown at you or you're dealing. One of the easiest ways that the other side can screw with us in on our level is with the electricity. It's very, very easy for them to manipulate. It takes an enormous amount of energy for them to manifest picking something up and throwing it, or slamming a door, or slamming my grandfather used to slam my doors at my house after he died because he'd want me to pay attention to certain things. And then you'd have the wind slam a door, and then he would slam a door. And I'm like, oh, and it was because he would use the opportunity, basically, and it was because he wanted me to pay attention. It didn't happen very often, but when it did happen, it was pay attention to ... whatever the thing is. And for him, he was in construction and a retired plumber, and he wanted me to pay attention to very specific things. And I wasn't doing that, and it was kind of ticking him off. So, but it was very, very rare that he did that. But for those that, on the other side, it's very easy for them to use opportunities, and super easy for them to screw with electricity. So that's why I always say, if you do have a poltergeist, and it is a real poltergeist, or it is a spirit who is enormously angry or enraged, check your wiring first before you go the paranormal route. Do all the critical thinking skills that you would do in your regular life. Check everything out before, because you've got to rule everything else out first. I mean, if you got stuff flying across the room, like a glass or a cup or plates, or like what Rosella was talking about with the microwave being completely unplugged and it's still being turned on, those are hardcore signs. But if you're having lights flickering and this other stuff, just dot your P's and Q's, dot your I's, cross your T's, all that kind of stuff first before, in your regular life, before you start in thinking that it's a poltergeist. But spirits can really produce an enormous amount of energy. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was like so bad in my house. Like I would be upstairs in the bedroom with the door closed and sometimes locked, just because you didn't want to go downstairs. And I think that I told you guys this story about my daughter. Basically, when I was folding clothes one day, they were watching like a TV show in our bedroom. It was just me alone with the kids in the middle of the day. But like you could feel something. I would feel it before it would start to happen. Like every time I would warn people, like, be quiet, don't react. That's what it wants. And it would wait for your reaction. Like if you did not react, and I felt like it wanted you to react to maybe take your energy back then, like it fed off your energy. I was never really positive. But this is back when I was really trying to deny my gifts and block it constantly. So, and I think also that made it very, very mad. So it didn't help. But like Emma got off of, like my daughter, she got off the bed. She was probably about 7, and Kevin, my son, was like 5. And she started saying, like, I told her to do something for me, and then she said no, and I could start to really feel it, like, getting angry. The only thing is, I get very, very angry if I was disrespected as a mother. And it would, like, those kind of things, like waking up the children, and that would be helpful, but we got very, very angry, and it would kind of come after us in different ways. So what happened was Emma ran into the hallway. She opened the door, and then Kevin ran after her and said, no, the man's out there. That's what we called him, the man. And she's in the hallway, and then all of a sudden, all the walls started shaking, like shaking so bad down our stairway. And I had all of these photographs lining the stairs that I thought the frames were going to fall off the walls and the glass was going to shatter. And she ran inside her room. She got so scared, locked herself in her room. She didn't come out for 3 days. She didn't want to pass the stairs either because that's where he kind of resided. And it was interesting because it was always 3 steps up, 3 steps from the bottom up. And then you would hear the boom, boom, booms all the time, like from those stairs, that like stairway area. But these things are very powerful. But it's funny how it really would never manipulate the electricity at all, but the microwave. That was it. Like, it felt like that was too easy for it or something. I never had lights blinking. I never had any of the, easy stuff. It was always like very psychologically like, what the hell could that even be when you know that it's not possibly a human and you're alone? Right. Crazy. I had another really crazy experience too. That this one really I'll never forget this as long as I live. Really nuts. But when I came home one day, the house was up for sale too. So I was like scrubbing the house from head to toe, like pretty much all the time. Like, I mean, scrubbing walls, so like really scrubbing. And I was like exhausted. I remember I went to get boxes because somebody said, yeah, with these free boxes. And I came back and it was like it didn't know that I was back yet. It was the only way I could like describe this because this happened and there's no other way that it would have happened if not. But I'm like, I came home and I saw shadows moving like on the back of our front door because the stairs were in front of the door, like directly in front. And the light was on upstairs. And I never would have left the light on upstairs in the hallway. And I saw shadows moving back and forth. And it was definitely like more than one. Like I would say like shadow play, but you couldn't really make it out if it was like a body or not. But just like almost like water movement. You know how water moves and it like kind of like leaves a little bit of a shadow of the sunshine. It looked like that. And I literally snuck around the corner and like peeked. And then like as soon as I peeked around the corner, nothing was there, like nothing. And then I looked at the back of the door and it was gone. That freaked me out for a really long time because I was like, what the hell was that? And I did see a shadow figure in that same hallway. Like the day that I brought Emma born, it was like, well, it's like 3 days after. And I was putting away her clothes in the nursery. I turned and looked and saw a full-blown shadow figure. And it looked at me, and it got scared of me. Like, it looked at me and was like, oh, crap, she sees me. And, like, you know how you're like, oh, my God, that person just saw me, and you jerk. Mm-hmm. It did that, and it turned around the stairs, and it ran down the stairs, and by the time I got to the stairs, it dissipated. It just like I saw it dissipate from like feet up, just dissipate. It was so crazy. So lots of crazy experiences. Yes. It was like so black, like dark black that it was like if I tried to put my hand through it, I don't think that I could have put my hand, like it was just so dark black. It was looked like it was physically really there, but it was like a walking flat man, flat, pancake flat, but crazy black.
Huh.
It was, and it jerked like a human being, like, oh my God, you just saw me. And then it turned around and ran down the stairs. And by the time I got to like the stairway, because I was not very far away. I was probably 4 feet away, but I mean, which was really fast. I got there really quickly, leaned over it, and it was in the middle of the stairs and started disappearing like feet up as it was running. And it was like, as it disappeared, you could see like it was kind of wispy as it disappeared all the way up. It was crazy. Like it kind of turned like a wispy, like smoke, you know, like if you stuck your hand through smoke and it would just, you know, move. It looked like that. It was the most obscene thing I've ever seen. Just crazy. And that was my confirmation. Like, yeah, the house is haunted. Like, there is somebody here. Definitely somebody here.
I gotta say, I think that my confirmation of the house being haunted would have come like the first microwave that exploded.
The microwave, yeah.
I've been like, oh, hey, look, haunted house.
Yeah, because I mean, we were yelling at each other about. Then my husband we thought that it's an omen because we were going to go to Italy, and this is before kids. And then my husband was like, okay, let's check the flight number. Like maybe somebody's trying to warn us, or it's an angel trying to warn us. The plane's going to crash, not to get on the plane. And so the number was never the same. It always said 134, 134, 134. I never knew what it was for years. And then when I moved out, I looked up 134. And it turned out that it was like it was like this old time in the olden days, a time where they would call it like the witching hour, kind of the golden hour, but it meant something different back then. It meant actually good things and prosperity was coming. It's interesting. So I'm like, okay, I will run with that one.
I'm going to go with the whole prosperity thing, not like sudden death on an airplane. Right.
Not the airplane. Yeah. Well, and we came and went, you know, to Italy, came back, nothing. The microwave still said it. You would sometimes find like the microwave like ajar, you know, like the light was on it. And my husband and I would always be like, you did it. No, you did it. Or it was 3 seconds left on the microwave or 5 seconds left of time, but no one used it. Then that one broke. We got the new one right before we were moving to replace it. And my husband put it over the stove, which was like the biggest mistake because the other one was not over the stove. It was separate on the counter. But yeah, that's when the timer would go off. The timer would go off. The light would blink all the time. And then my husband, took the wires out. Like, he's like, I disconnected the crap out of this thing. Like, it will not turn on. 3 a.m, beep, beep, beep. And it was so profusely, like, you know, annoying and loud. Oh, God. It rang through the whole house.
All right. So I have to ask. So you just sold the house, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, put up and shut up until we get this thing sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. Because I was like, hey, did you like give a, hey, FYI, you know, the house might be a little haunted? Or...
Are you kidding me? I was so terrified it would never sell. I'm like, I looked at, after that happened to my daughter and the wall shook, I was like, we are out of here. We are really out of here. Right. My daughter was so scared. And I remember I went outside, I looked up at the house and I said, I'm divorcing you. There's nothing you can do. You will not come here. Like, you will not come with us. You are staying here. And if you treat the people who are going to buy this house like shit, like you did with us, and you scare the shit out of them, I'm going to find out about it pretty quick. So you better not do what you did to us. And that kind of stopped it for a little while. But then a week later, it was holding my feet down, like in bed constantly, like holding my ankles down.
Oh, yeah.
Kicking, you'd be lying there, sleeping or something, like we'd be sleeping and like pretty much middle of the night, 4 in the morning usually. A lot of stuff would happen at 4 in the morning, like 2 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, a kick, like from someone's knee, came up from in between, underneath the bed, in between us both. So much that we, like, jumped out of bed, like, from an unconscious state. Like, we were awake pretty quick.
I
And,
think that was a different
That was crazy.
spirit. I think that was
Honestly,
I'd be pissed. If
I
I were
think
living
that-
there, I'd be pissed.
I think that was one of them bondage ghosts. He was holding your feet down.
Okay,
well, as
you
soon
know,
as we put that
those
for sale sign in the yard, bam, all of that aggressiveness really started happening. It was very,
Those-
very aggressive.
I
those
gotta
are making-
admit. Oh, sorry.
Those are making
Yeah.
points.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very major points. And personally, if it were me,
Yeah.
I'd be getting pissed.
Well, 'cause
I don't get. It takes
I
a
was
lot
really
to
pissed.
freak me out, but I get really angry when it comes.
I think
to
I was always angry at it. Like, I got angry at the first house that I wrote that, my book about, but I was very angry. And then I found out it was, something really different. And there's many spirits, but then this was definitely one. I had a friend who was also gifted. She came in and she was like interacting with it. Like I could see her face expression changing. And I knew that he was talking to her.
Yeah.
And she said, he is a very angry person and very aggressive. Good luck. And that was about probably 3 years before we moved. But it took 1.5 years to sell the house. And I'm telling you, I sat there so quiet that, like, people were like, are you okay? During, like, the whole exchange and everything, signing the papers. I was too afraid to almost breathe because I wanted to get the hell out of there. And I didn't want them to find out. I've never heard anything since from any of them.
But and legally, okay, here's the legal side of this, folks. That's not something that you have to notify people of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You do
okay.
legally across the United States. You do if there's been a murder or some kind of physical thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Someone died in the
regarding,
house.
regarding poltergeist, regarding spirits, you do not have, unless the neighbors know, you do not have to say who shit one about it.
As
So
Well, and I
just an
asked the neighbors-
FYI, if people were wondering, you don't have to
Yeah.
when it comes
As
to
the-
spirits and ghosts.
as the unofficial S-4 Paranormal legal advisor,
Realtor Duncan.
if you committed the murder, tell no one.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, okay.
And you don't
that's
have
not
to-
going to help you.
So,
Skeleton
And
in
if
the
I
closet.
didn't know
no,
about it,
because
no one else
I
has to
mean,
know.
like, okay. And I totally understand, Rosella, where you're
Well,
coming from. I
Yeah.
absolutely understand. Especially you have small children. You're worried about their
Exactly.
safety. You need to get the hell
Yeah.
out of there, and you have to have money to do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I will say on the other side of that, I'd be kind of upset being the person that bought a house, being like,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
this is going to be my dream house, and then be like, holy shit, this place is super haunted. Like,
And
I would
that's
just be
exactly
mad
what
that I
happened
didn't
to
get
me.
a discount.
no, and that's what I'm saying is like,
I'd be
because
mad I
I
didn't
know
get the
how
discount.
you must have felt
if the
when
place
you
is
got
haunted,
it, and we're
I
like,
feel like
hey,
it
this
should
is
be on
awesome.
discount.
And then it was like, holy crap, not so awesome.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
and it started
if I'm
within
broke
3
enough,
days.
I'm willing to live with a ghost. It just, I need
You don't get a discount for places that are haunted. Most of the time, you pay more now.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
seriously.
Very
Seriously.
true.
Even though they
Yeah.
don't pay rent. Yeah.
Well, because it can actually, now it's actually a real thing because it can be considered a separate form of income from the house itself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very true.
damn.
Right. Yeah, it was really bad. And I had a lot of people who wanted to come in
Just go
and investigate it, but I knew that they were bad people, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't let anyone in the house. It would make it worse. And honestly, if I let anyone in there that would have done that, it would have pissed it off
Well,
really
and,
quick.
and to be perfectly honest, you had small children. You don't know these people. You
Yeah.
don't want them
Yeah.
knowing where you live and where your kids' bedrooms and everything are. That's creepy in itself.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I gotta say, like people scare me 10,000 times worse than any poltergeist ever would because
Yeah.
people are crazy. So,
Yeah. My friend says, I'm not afraid of the dead. I'm afraid of the living. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. No, I have seen what the
Absolutely.
dead can do living
Right.
with them. So,
The living can do
pick
a
your
lot worse.
poison.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's pretty bad. Yeah, there was just so many bad things that happen. And then my uncle, when he died very young, he really protected me. Like, he was in the house all the time, and what I kind of call like the portal area, but I never really knew what it was. I felt it. I was always kind of afraid of the closet in my children's like nursery room, which is terrible. But it was a doorway, and I don't think that this thing kind of came and went, but I think that my relatives and angels, like spirits, would come and protect me from this thing constantly. And as I kind of grew older with the children, my gifts became more apparent. So that was it was getting more intense. I felt bad. Like, one day I yelled at my uncle because my baby, like my son, was really sick as a baby. And I'm like, you gotta stop. You're like really freaking me out because I already have this situation. And I felt my uncle go and felt bad. And then I felt the bad ghost go. Like, well, I got rid of the good one. It was protecting me. Like, shit.
I gotta tell you guys something about the other night. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So, last Friday night, okay, a couple of things happened to me at work that actually freaked me out a little bit. Okay, so I was in there by myself because on Friday nights from about 6:15, 6:30 to about 7 o'clock, I'm in there by myself. And I'm doing the last checks, and I'm turning off all the lights and all that jazz. Right? So I was in the break room having my last break right before my manager was leaving. And there is no air conditioning in there. God, that place was built in 1902. Like, there's no air conditioning. We don't have any fans in there.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no wind. And Cole can attest to that because he was already outside waiting for me to get off of work. And there's no wind anywhere, right? And I'm sitting in the break room, and there's this little pamphlet, like, oh God, what are those? They're like event books for the Loggers Rodeo. And it was sitting on the table in front of me. And I turned the book, and it started flipping through the pages.
By
And it freaked
itself?
me out. Yes, it totally freaked me out. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm done with that
Wow.
because I still have to close this place up and turn off all these lights, and I'm not doing this with you, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I'm finished, right? So I go back into the back, like, washing room, like, dish area, and I'm putting away the last few little things. And I see something black just go past me really quick. And I was like, shit. This is where it ends. Like, I got that going on. And I turned to pull these dishes out, and my manager is standing right there, and she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something. And she's dressed all in black, right? Oh, God, it scared me so bad, I just screamed in her face. I'm like, ah! Right? She looks at me and she's like, oh, I didn't mean to scare you. That's why I was trying not to sneak up. And I'm like, oh, my God. Okay, no. Right? So she left. And then I'm in there all freaked out. And I got all these dishes, and I got to turn these lights off. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I was at the very end, and I turned the last light off. And then I remembered that the very back freezer, I forgot to lock it. And I'm like, shit. Right? So I'm going through this whole place, like, turning every light on as I go, going, okay, just lock it really quick, and then run out and turn the lights off as you go. It was so bad. It must have looked like an idiot, because I just came flying out of the kitchen. I'm like, oh my God! And I just locked the door really quick, and I'm like pushing on it to make sure it's locked, and I'm like, okay, Cole, just start the car! Like, we gotta go! I was freaking terrified.
And
And I've been there, sadly.
she had the audacity to blame us.
I did. I was like, you know what? Nothing really happened here until we brought this shit up on the show. I'm not liking this. And it seems like every day since then, something weird has happened.
I'm gone.
And I'm like, ah, oh, damn it. Like,
This
out
is
of
like-
nowhere. Oh, God. Like,
Talking about it.
yeah, like, the oven was in the middle of cooking, and all of a sudden the doors of the oven opened.
Oh my, whoa.
And I was like,
That's aggressive.
shit. Okay, stop it. Please just quit. I got a job to do. Kids to feed. Like, no.
That's not fair.
Oh.
The
What?
spirit wanted a chicken nugget. If
Yeah.
it wants a chicken nugget, it gets a chicken nugget.
I gotta be perfectly honest. If that's all it takes to make the spirit piss off, you can take your damn chicken nugget and go. Okay. But I gotta tell you, I think I would be even more afraid if I saw a chicken nugget just randomly, like, floating in the air down the hallway. Okay? I'm like, I don't know about all that.
It was Henry Vance Gibson, Mom. He was just trying to contact you.
Trying to contact me?
Yeah. Henry Vance.
Like, speaking of that, this will freak you out more, Kayla. But, you know, that's my job.
Hey, it's cool.
So anyway, so this, like, there's a story that I heard about this woman who was doing dishes. And as she was doing the dishes and not paying attention, and then, like, the person behind her was, like, you know, just sitting there. I think it was, like, her kid or something. But then saw, like, a soft, you know, like how you have soft soap, like the soap, you know, to wash your hands, right? Those little bottles. Started floating up beside her. Like, really, really slow and floating up in the air right beside her. And it was, like, I mean, for probably, like, over a minute until she turned and saw the bottle face to face with her pretty much at that, like, her you know, up at her head. And then all of a sudden it just turned in the air slightly and then dropped. And she was, like, screaming her head off, of course.
Right.
And then ran. But speaking of the chicken nugget floating.
Oh, my God. Dude, okay, so this is one more just to add to the list of stupid shit that happened this week. Okay?
No.
On Thursday, so before all this stuff happened on Friday, on Thursday, so right after the show, go in, alright? And I went into the back freezer and I'm grabbing some stuff, getting ready to cook, and I turn around and I can't get the damn freezer to open.
Ooh.
And I'm pushing on the little, like, safety latch for the freezer.
Yeah.
And it's pushing, but the damn door is not opening. And I'm like, this is not how I die. I am not dying in a freezer at Northern State. This is not happening.
Oh, God.
And it took me like 10 minutes to finally get it to where the door pushed. And I'm like, you know,
wow.
I am just going to leave something so that it's propped open when I'm in these from now on.
Yeah.
This is not happening again. I'm not going to get stuck in here.
They probably know that you did the show and talked about it because they know everything. I always tell people when they cross over, they know.
And that's why I was like, damn it, Cole, look what you did to me.
Yep.
How is this my fault?
Let's do a show on Northern State right after you start working there. No. Do you guys want to go play frisbee golf at Northern State?
Hey, I did. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I actually went to a museum about it. I saw all the tools they used to use.
Nice.
Man. Yeah, you'll probably have something happen every day for a little while. I mean, it's probably one spirit,
Right.
like, trying to get you, I think. Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, great. Look at this. Of course. Of course this is going to
Doctor.
happen. Oh, that's even worse, man.
Male.
Okay. You think about the doctors that used to be there? I would much rather have a patient than a doctor. Thank you for that, Nikki.
The doctors
If you
were
see
good
the
guys.
chicken nugget floating or soft soap, don't be afraid.
He ain't gonna get that chicken nugget. That'll give him a heart attack or some heartburn, something. He's a doctor. He knows. There's so much salt in those things. Now, if I see a piece of broccoli or an apple floating, then we got a problem.
Well, if it's an apple, you know it's not a
Yeah.
doctor. Because an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
You're so
But you know
funny.
what? With me, they put the tomatoes all over the wall, and whoosh, going down the wall. I'm like, wow! I've never seen tomatoes like suckerfish to a wall like that before, but that was pretty frightening.
Right?
So you never know.
Well, you know, the worst part,
but not tomatoes.
I gotta say, like, the worst part about working there, though, is that the kids know that everybody that works there has seen something or has heard something or whatever. You know, they know.
Yeah.
They're not stupid.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, they're gonna mess with you as much as humanly possible, too.
Oh yeah.
So they'll, like, pop up into a random window sometimes and be like, hello! And you're like, oh my god!
It's so terrible. It's
That's not
funny.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my god. And the more that you know you react, the more they're gonna do.
Oh, I know,
It's
and you
horrible.
can't help it because I'm that person
Yeah.
that does not just scream, I flail like a dead fish. Okay? So I'll be like, and they just,
We got you, yeah.
right?
Oh my god, that is so funny.
That is
But wow. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not good. You're kind of screwed.
I know. I was like, this is stupid.
That's so bad.
And then, like, I have one lady that works with me that she doesn't mean to, but she's scary. Just because she's so quiet that she'll just be doing something and you will not even know she is there until she turns around and says, hey. And you go, oh, shit. Hi. What's up?
Yeah. Thought I was alone. Sorry about that.
Right? And she's got to think I have, like, something wrong with me. Because every time she tries to talk to me, I'm like, ah! Oh, hi. God. She's like, oh, man, does this new chick have Tourette's? Like, what's happening here? God.
That's pretty bad.
You do not have Tourette's.
No, I do not.
No.
Multiple personality disorder, definitely.
No,
but not
well,
Tourette's.
probably.
Did I ever tell you the story about these people who like dress up like a clown and try to scare the shit out of me in this haunted building?
What?
Yeah, it was like wicked if you ask me. It was really mean. So I totally identify with like the window scaring because that literally this scared me. Well, I was doing like a journalist like tour kind of thing, doing this. It was what was this like? It was an old schoolhouse in the middle of a town that was kind of deserted. Like the town was all empty, and they were trying to get tourism back. So they brought me in, and they had me write about the whole town. Brought me to this old schoolhouse. It's just like really, it was like a very freaky place upstairs. Like the downstairs was all redone and was very, very nice. Didn't get any vibes there, but it's like, you know, once they redo the bottom, they kind of all flee upward where there's, you know, where it's all the same to them kind of deal. And so I was really on edge and going upstairs with this guy who was leading me on the tour and then my friend Misty behind me. And apparently the woman who owned the place had her grandson there, which I did not know. So we go up to this third floor, and it's like really, really hot, even though it's October. It was like 80 degrees out, really hot, no air conditioning. And we go up there, and then we're looking around. And, you know, the other people with gifts on here will kind of know. When you see it, you think you're just seeing something, right? And if other people don't react, you think you're seeing it. So this kid walks out, literally like dressed like it kind of deal, the clown it, and with a cleaver, and is like walking silently towards me. And I'm looking at everybody else who's with me, and they're not reacting that they see it. So I just start like freaking out, like this is it. Like now, like I have this evil spirit like attacking me, like it's fine, it's like happening or something, because they were not reacting. So I mean, I started to freak out, like just I'm screaming because I've seen that they're not seeing it, and they just were laughing at me. And I'm like, you guys, that's not like what you think you thought happened did not happen. Like I see things when you guys don't see things. So when I thought that I'm seeing this thing, that was evil shit to do to me. Like never do this to somebody who's gifted ever again, or I will personally come kill you. Right. That was really awful. So yeah, I understand.
I gotta
once
say,
it happens, it's not gone.
I feel like this is just payback because I guess I am that terrible person most of the time. Okay. And I've done some pretty messed up crap to people just to scare them. Okay. So I think of this as like, okay, this is all those years of like pent up stupid just coming back at me like tenfold.
My favorite part, though, is how excited Kayla is to go out to work on Friday.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. I'm not excited at all. But no, like, okay.
With it being Friday the 13th, no, I wouldn't be either.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's Friday the 13th. I'm going to be in northern state. And I'm by myself for half a fucking hour, 45 minutes.
In a school for children. I asked her if she was going to put her camp counselor shirt on.
I had thought about it. Yes.
Hey, Mom, aren't you scared of black-eyed children?
Stop it.
If you
Yeah, don't talk about that thing. I don't want to invite anything.
Fucking must.
I do not invite.
Kayla, if you have problems there, just tell them that you know somebody that can deal with them, and I won't be very nice.
All right.
No more than someone.
Tell them I'll bring the demon dogs.
Can we tell them that?
Okay,
They'll know exactly what that means.
You're talking about the spirits, not the children, right? No.
I'm talking about the spirits who are bugging the shit out of you.
Yeah,
I know somebody. She's going to take you out.
I'm sure the dogs would like a little nibble on one of the real life children at some point in time, but yeah, not this one.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
Now they're alive. They won't.
Yeah. So
I'll ask permission, and I'll ask permission from the hierarchy royalties, and I'll bring the demon dogs, and they like to chew on things. So,
oh yeah,
you know, yeah, Robert knows, he's witnessed it. So, oh, you haven't heard those stories, have you, Rosella? We ought to have a private conversation.
I'm usually the one who kicks out the demons, but
well, you know,
I bring the angels, and I'm like, get the fuck out! Like screaming.
I bring angels as well, but I know other beings, and they have and there's a hierarchy royalty that has demon dogs, very, very specific demon dogs, and if you have something malevolent, they like to chew on them, regurgitate, and re-chew, and basically what it is, it's a form of
teething.
Permanent torture because of what they've done. It is, and it actually gets the okay from Source and Jesus and a bunch of others that are in the hierarchy royalties. So, I have to ask permission, and so and that is something that I'm very specific on. I'm like, can I play with the doggies? And they love me because hello, I'm feeding them. I mean, I get permission if the entity, the nasty being is going to be tortured, or if it's going to be completely annihilated out of total existence. So It's something that I don't toy with very often. But with friends, I'm like, you got people who are doing something that it's something that I don't take it lightly, and it's something that I am going to tell you, don't, unless something is really bad, then use that, then say it.
Yeah.
But just say, hey, do I need to bring a friend of mine?
And like I'm saying, pretty much the only thing that's happened to where I couldn't actually explain it, or it wasn't like actually somebody that was there doing something, has been the book that flipped itself. Like, you know, and maybe the freezer, but it could have just been like off hinge a little bit or whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. But I don't play around when it comes to that stuff, because you yourself don't know. I mean, you've got your own abilities.
Yeah.
But unless you've got one of us in there, or unless you've got a hierarchy that is coming in and going, okay, no, this is not, you're going to leave her alone. And you're feeling it, you're not going to know for sure. So that's why I say you want to have some kind of backup, and you can use us as I don't know about Rosella or Robert, but I know you can use me as a threat. I've had people do that before, where they're like, I know, I personally know Nikki Jacobs, and I know that if you do something to me, she will make sure the other side looks. The other side will investigate, and you do not want a hierarchy royalty being investigating you. And you don't want the angels investigating you. So Nikki, back off.
I'm going to use that the next time I go to the ocean on a stormy day, and I'm going to tell the water, if you don't fucking calm down, I'm going to get Nikki to come down or bring her whip.
They love it when I bring my whips. What the hell are you talking about?
Wow.
Kayla, if you need someone to deal with the children, you just tell them your husband is kind of like Red Foreman, except for a lot meaner.
Okay. So
I was going to ask, like, this facility, Kayla, is like you said, there is teenagers?
Yes. Well, kind of. So it's 16 to 24.
So what are they there for?
It's a Job Corps facility.
Oh, okay.
I would say, too, it depends on who you ask. If you ask the kids, most of them are there to, like, fool around.
Okay. I was just checking if it was, like, mental illness, you know what I mean? Like, or, juvie-ish
nothing like
stuff.
That.
Okay.
No, we asked if it was mental illness. They said, no, we don't want your kids.
Hey. Now, on a different note that still is kind of funny, but did also scare me, because you guys all know my wonderful thing with mirrors, right? That I don't own any, don't have any, don't like them. Okay.
That's my own.
So, I was walking down, again, at work, to go unload the truck. Well, the maintenance guys had just put a giant mirror up against the wall that I did not know was there. Because they were replacing the mirror in one of the bathrooms. So I'm walking down the creepy-ass hallway. I turn to go unload the truck, and I look, and boom, there's a full-size mirror of me staring at me, and I'm like, oh, God! Okay. So...
Okay. We're going to get a rep pretty quick.
And this is like... all of this crazy shit. Nothing really crazy happened to me until we brought this up on the show last week. Okay.
Yeah, really.
Now I got everything. All I need now is a full room of moths. It'll be great.
We can make that happen.
I know. I don't want to hear about this.
I'm just saying, like, we have abilities.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
That's fine.
Okay, I gotta ask, is this Friday the 13th also like a full moon and a super moon and like gravity wind in itself?
Somebody else. I had a doctor just ask me this the other day.
Is it a full moon? Look.
Full moon? Are we into a full moon?
Oh, God.
It has been kind of weird. It's been like wonky energy.
Yeah, it has been.
Wonky.
Well, and Kayla's bad luck has already started.
Oh, God, always.
I mean, like, she found out tonight that her mother-in-law is coming. So
That's true. Oh, yeah. Nah, I like your mom. Your mom's a good person.
that was rude.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that in a Canadian way. Oh. She is actually a good person. That's like one of the worst Canadian insults ever. Because they're such nice people that when you say, oh, she's a nice lady, it's like that, oh, sweetheart thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, bless your
like
soul.
Bless
you know, that kind
heart.
of thing.
Bless
Yes,
your heart.
there we go. Bless your heart. Mm-hmm. So
Now,
it's
just
that
when
kind of
people
thing.
say it to me, I'm like, do you want slapped? What the hell? Don't say that to me. Like, oh, so bless your heart. That means like, shut up. You hate me. Like, what? Just say it.
Okay,
I'm
so
really
that's
loud
why
and
after
it's
that, you
connected.
just have to end it with, thanks, cunt. And then walk
Wow.
Just call me a
Oh
bitch
my.
in my face instead of
You
bless
want
your
to see the
heart.
reaction. I tell you what, you give that as a response to bless your heart, and they look at you real weird.
Well, you know what? Maybe they would stop because it's horrible.
Except if you're Australian, because Australian is sort of like an everyday sort of thing.
Right?
What?
Right.
Calling people a cunt.
Oh my god.
Okay, it is in Canada, too. And then when
Uh-huh.
I came back up here, and the very first time that slipped out to my mother was not
Yeah.
great. It was not great at all. Okay. I was like, quit being a cunt. She's like, okay. Bad
here
news
comes the
bears.
band.
Bad news bears. It really is one of those words in a lot of different countries that's used like every other sentence.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Why?
Mad.
It's the grammar.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, like, saying to people's face, like, okay, thanks, bitch, just calling me, like, something to my face. and
Like,
I'll
I
walk
swear to
away.
God, go to Ireland and it's every other word. Like, hardcore.
Like,
Like,
fuck
for real.
off, you fucking cunt. Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
like every other sentence, every other
Oh.
word. And you're like, huh, I didn't know you could fit that in there that often. But okay. Good to know.
Afraid me now.
We're
I'll be, like, crying. I
Right.
know.
And they'll be like, look at that fucking American. Just turn away. They know it.
Jeez.
We all know it.
You should have seen the first time I said that word in front of Kayla's sisters.
Oh my
I
god.
thought I
it
was
was
getting
hilarious. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
They were so mad at me.
Yeah,
they were just
in
proving
my
my
family,
point by
that's
being mad at me.
And of course me,
Way
I'm like,
off topic.
that's cool. Like, ugh.
Not really.
Oh,
It's not really bad off
yeah.
because poltergeists are kind of cunts, you know. Like
Okay, whoa. I thought you were going to say because my sister could be considered a poltergeist. Okay. I was like, well,
Well,
you're not wrong. No.
I plead the fifth. No, you have nice sisters. Yeah,
I'll tell you, my husband learned a
Probably when they
lesson.
want something.
Don't hide anywhere behind anything. If you jump out and you say boo, I punch you in the face. So it's just like innate. One time he hid behind the refrigerator. I think I told you that, Nikki. He hid behind the refrigerator. And he's like, boo! That was a mistake. I just was, boom! It was like, I think I hit him like 3 times. You know that scene with like Jennifer Grey when she's like, like in Ferris Bueller, and she's like, boom, boom, boom to the principal. Well, that's what my husband got, but it was my fist. And he's like,
Oh,
what the
God.
hell was that? I'm like, why are you scaring me? This is what happens when you scare me. Like, don't jump out and scare me. It is ugly.
So in my family, scaring
Yeah.
people is something that we all do.
Yeah.
Okay, and we do like it's almost an Olympic style game for us.
Yeah, for like
Like,
for 2 years, I would hide around corners and scare my grandmother. Like, anytime I found the chance. Like, anytime she was walking down the hallway, going into the kitchen, coming home from work, I would try and scare her.
And John is a sneaky little shit. So when he was younger, he used to hide in, like, the laundry basket with, like, laundry over top of him and wait for my mom to walk in the door and then pop out of the laundry and be like, grandmother! Okay?
My favorite, though, was the one night you did that.
You would not live long. I would be punching you.
You didn't tell him that Grandma wasn't coming home. She was spending the night at Kayla's sister's house. So he sat in the hamper for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely committed. He's committed. And I remember one time when he was like 4, maybe 5 years old, and I couldn't find him. And I was looking all over the house for him because it was freaking me out. And I'm looking in everything. And I opened up the closet. And he is up on top of the shelf in the closet. And he goes, Mom! I was like, ah! Okay. He was like, ah!
Sounds like my son.
Now, I gotta tell you,
I did bad things to my brother.
Yeah.
My favorite scare of all times, and it's like it's one for the record books. My dad is like terrified of demons. Okay.
Yeah.
So he does not watch.
Does anybody like demons?
Well, like
demons?
he'll watch something. He'll watch something that has like a demon for a second in it, and then he'll be like scared all night about demons coming to get him. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things. The first one is he watched The Exorcist with my mother, which was a stupid idea in the first place. Should never have watched it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had this little like angel doll that would bob its head back and forth and it would sing. Well, its batteries started dying, so it started going instead of singing. And then my brother at some point had pulled its head so that it just spun around in a circle on top of the little thing that was on it. So I sat this doll and I wound it up and I waited for my dad to come down and to go to bed. And I just started playing it and I like walked around the corner and like was watching. And he came down right after watching The Exorcist to this angel with its head spinning around going, okay. He screamed so loud he kicked that thing and it just smashed against the wall. He was like, what was that?
Oh my god.
So my mom goes in. So my mom goes in the bathroom and she got glow-in-the-dark chapstick.
No, no.
And she covered her entire face in glow-in-the-dark chapstick, right? And stood in front of the light until it shined really bright when you turned off the lights. Went into her and my dad's room backwards, turned around, looked at my dad and said, I'm not your wife. Right?
Oh my god.
I don't think he slept for a week.
I'm crying.
It was so bad.
I gotta say, that's not my favorite one.
No?
No.
Oh my god.
Friend, June loves grouse sailing.
Oh, shit.
And she found this deer head to stick up on the wall. But you guys remember the Freddy the Flying Fish that used to sing?
Yeah.
Take me to the river.
It's a deer that not only will play a tune, but it has a microphone that's wireless.
Uh-oh.
That you can also speak for the deer.
Yeah.
And she hung it right above his bed. And he is sitting sitting on his bed watching TV, and she just starts speaking in the most demonic voice she can come up with, talking about how he could do this to him. He was just an innocent little deer.
I was Bambi at one point. How could you kill me and stick me on your wall? Okay, stuff like that.
Oh, God.
And Brian's a big
How
guy.
you guys have not had heart attacks?
Well, Brian's a big guy. Like he's
Oh my God.
really big. And
That's
at
fine.
this point, his knees are so bad he wasn't able to stand up, so he couldn't even reach the deer to shut it off or anything. So randomly, she would just mess with him.
It was great.
Wow.
Oh, my favorite was when she handed
Wow.
it to my nephew, Tanner, and he sang 99 bottles of beer on the wall, but just as a continuous for like an hour and a half.
And he was
into
little.
this thing, and he was like maybe 5 at that point.
So he had that little kid voice, too.
My dad, stop it! Just stop it!
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It was great.
So,
Yeah.
with the Poltergeist,
Yes,
friend,
Poltergeist.
Yes,
I was
Poltergeist.
looking up some of the famous cases, and a few of them surprised me because I didn't actually ever think of these as poltergeists, but they make sense now that I think of them.
Like the Enfield Poltergeist?
Well, the Enfield Poltergeist or the Amityville case,
Oh yeah.
friend. But like, there is one
Yeah,
on
that
this
goes
list of the
on.
most famous cases that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Amity
It's-
goes way beyond. But yeah,
From
what?
1931.
Yeah.
Jeff the Talking Mongoose. And it actually was a talking mongoose.
Yep.
For
Jeff the talking mongoose?
Yeah.
Was it a stuffed mongoose or
Nope.
like a live mongoose?
A live mongoose.
Live.
Oh,
He was just chilling.
that's interesting.
But the spirit would talk for him.
Would talk through the mongoose?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, now that's weird.
that's
I've
creepy.
never heard of this.
That would be awesome. Having a talking mongoose.
Oh. I don't know that I'd like that.
It would be like having Donkey around.
Well, then that's the thing. Like, the reason the Amityville one and Enfield one bothered me so much, not bothered me so much, but like weirded me out at first when I first saw them, is because Hollywood has taken a lot of these
Yeah.
and corrupted them. They don't present them as the same story. Like Amityville and Enfield, according to the movies now that we have out, are both just sidesteps of a demon. Or a supposed demon, I guess, whatever.
Or some old ghost man.
Well, but like, they were just part of the entire story that they put together, which made it all seem like it was one demon causing it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in
Yeah.
actuality, they didn't have any connection other than what, like, that.
Ed
who's the
and
famous
Lorraine
couple? Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Were the only
yeah.
connection
Were the only connection they
really
actually had at
Yeah.
the two houses. So, like, sometimes we have to remember that what we have seen without doing research.
Well, Hollywood betrayals are never.
Nikki, say your tagline.
Yeah, they're never accurate. Yeah.
Demon dogs?
No.
Do your
Always
research.
do your.
Oh, always do your research. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which one of my taglines am I using?
Exactly.
Without doing our
Yeah,
research, we're
like-
just watching the movies that come out that we've all seen.
Research,
Mm-hmm.
research.
These
Always
can
do
get
your
rather-
demon dogs.
These can get
Oh,
rather
just by the
much.
way, Tuesday
Wait.
night, September 17th, is the full moon.
Yep.
Yes.
So
I'm glad
not,
it's not on
this
Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Not Friday, no, but
Good.
the following
Good,
Tuesday.
Good.
But-
I might
But I
have
will
had to.
say,
I gotta
Be
be honest.
careful.
I'd have probably called in if it was a full moon and Friday the 13th, and I was gonna be by myself. I'd be like, something happened. I gotta go home early. Sorry, guys. Right.
stick something in that freezer and make sure you can get out. I'm just saying.
Well, now I freaking okay. So since that, I started because I never carry my phone on me when I'm working because I find it rude.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
but since then, I always have it in my back pocket because I'm like, you know what? If I do actually get stuck in this damn freezer,
Mhm.
Right.
Nobody's even gonna come and get me. Like nobody knows
No.
I'm here.
Right.
Wait a minute. But here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Freezers aren't they, the old ones, aren't they lead lined? Or they've got some kind of lining, so a cell phone may not
Might
necessarily...
penetrate through.
Yeah, that is
you
true.
may not get
That
through.
is true.
That's why you get paged.
No, even those one, most of them were still, like, even from back then, were aluminum lined. They weren't lead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I'm like, I gotta do something, because if I get stuck in here and it's like a Friday night, then nobody's checking on me until the next
Till
morning.
Monday.
And I'm like,
Well, I sure as fuck ain't coming to get you. I mean, if they got you, why would I put myself in that position?
Dad, that's why you just call me, send me in there. I'll happily go in there because I want to explore that place.
So I get a whole weekend without you and her?
Yeah.
Awesome.
hey, if you want to, though, we can go to the port side and I can show you some cool shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay,
surgical
that's
center
where
where I
you
can
have-
show you
listen.
some lobotomy tools.
Yeah.
I want to go in there.
What about a Walkman? What about a radio? Oh,
Yeah.
So
listen.
Cole has one.
Have a walkie-talkie.
Yes,
And
the
you-
spirit
And
box.
you've got another one. But the question is, would it be able to work in that environment?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yes, it would. But here's the thing. If she contacted me on the radio and said, I think the ghost got me, I'm going to tell her, okay, I'll see you on Monday when they come and let you out. Because I ain't going in there.
No, okay. Seriously, Cole would be the worst one to try to get to come and let me out of something that he thought was haunted in any way, shape, or form. He ain't never coming in there.
It's cold in those freezers.
That's where you come and get me.
Well, that's the
I mean,
idea.
So that's what you like give him the thing, and you're like, he's just sitting in the car randomly, la la, waiting for you on board, and then you're like, the ghost got me. Like, really freaky.
I have become one with the entities.
It would probably really upset her because she gets off later than her mother, so her mother's already at home, and I'm her last ride in back towards the house.
Oh my God.
So, if I just took off,
And I could see him doing that, being like, they got her. Bye. Okay.
actually, I know exactly what I do.
Hey, I
call
screamed
Kelly.
tonight, screaming
Huh?
for my husband, and he's like,
Oh, you
texting
call
me.
Kelly.
I would call Kelly and tell her, hey, Kayla's stuck in the freezer. Go let her out.
Yeah, that's true. She works overnights there, so I would at least be free at midnight. Thanks.
Oh my god.
I don't freeze to death. Right?
Huh?
Oh, but you know, like, I think that some places get a little bit of a bad rap, though, too. Like, where they say that, oh yeah, the spirit is here and he's doing this, and a lot of it is touristy crap. Okay, a lot of it isn't actually real. And a lot of it, like, maybe at some point there was somebody that might have haunted that area, but they've long since passed. And you can tell when there's those places. And there's a lot of gimmicky stuff, too. Like, oh, don't sit in that chair. That bar stool belonged to this guy who somehow ended up dying over here from the, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You hear that, and yeah, and it seems like every other week there's a new, like, haunted hotel that you gotta go and stay in because somebody jumped out of a third-story window or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I will say that definitely there are some places that have activity for sure, but not every place that they say is, oh, this is the most haunted place in this area, has anything in it. Like,
Yeah, it's funny because like for my stuff, like my blog and my haunted travel blog, I would travel all over, and I'd walk into a lot of places and be like, "There's nothing here. This is just
Yeah, exactly.
you know." People would be really mad at me, but I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna tell. I'm gonna tell the truth. There's no point to not do that.
I do not feel any presence here. Yeah, exactly.
There is nothing here."
Yeah. I had a guy and his wife ask me, they were going to New Orleans, and they were staying in a hotel basically on the main drag. I can't think of the name of the main drag, but anyway. And
Urban Street?
Excuse me?
Urban Street?
Yeah, I think that was it. And he sent me pictures of the place, and he goes, well, this is where we're, because I asked, I said, so where are you staying since you're going on this trip with your wife? And he's like, oh, we're excited. We get to go stay at, and he named the hotel, and I went, oh, can you show me pictures of that place? And he showed me, what is it with stairwells? He showed me the stairwell going up from the lobby and the upper, and they were basically pictures from the web.
Yeah.
And I went, you need to find out what happened in this room. So I screenshot the picture, I circled it, and I said, there was a woman who was unalived, and I explained what I saw and what I was witnessing and how it took place. And he started doing research. Come to find out, he didn't know that it was a haunted hotel. And I'm like, I didn't expect a haunted hotel. I just was like, because I love architecture. And it was I was like, he likes to push people on the stairs, so make sure that you and your wife are holding on to that handrail.
Yeah.
Keep a good grip.
So, and sure shit, that's what they found out in their research. And I was like, wow. Actually, it was one place that I'd like to go because it was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
I'd like to actually have a conversation with the woman and the man because both of them were. So it was rather fascinating.
Now, see, that's the thing, is that the places that I felt the most, like, I guess, activity at would be places that you wouldn't even think there would be something. You know, like you go into, like, one of your friends' houses for the first time and you do the, oh, shit. Like, oh, something's just off about this place. Yeah. Like, you know, and it can be a really nice home. It can have all its nice furniture. Everything is all fine. But you just walk in and all of a sudden you get that, like, whoo, oh, damn. Like, what the hell is wrong with this place? You know, and then I've been to places that people are like, this is the most haunted place ever. And walked in and felt absolutely nothing. And I'm like, this is super weird. Like, it's supposed to be hella haunted, and I got nothing. Like,
yeah. I know people will say to me all the time, how can you walk into those haunted places? It's like the scariest place ever. And I'm like, I'm fine. I have the angels on my side, so I'm not really worried. But most of the time you get in there and it's like, maybe one entity or like a husband and wife, you know, from the past, and they're kind of like bouncing in and out of heaven because that's their house and they're kind of checking on it. That's their home. So, I've never had anything really humongously threatening. I've had one place that I walked into. I think that this guy was some kind of like priest or like clergy, but he was like practicing, like secretly practicing, like, you know, worshiping Satan and dark things. It was really weird. We had a lot of activity in there, but as soon as we walked in there, I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, I didn't want to be around it or associate with it, have it attached to anybody. I just felt really bad and off. And, the people who I was with had bad intentions. So I was like, I'm going to just go. This is not cool.
right.
He had like satanic books everywhere, like weird stuff, crosses upside down. It was not good. And he had written some book about worshiping Satan. It was pretty extensively bad. Some spirit was like pretending to be a secretary of his, and I knew it wasn't. And I kept saying, like, this is not, you're not talking to this person. They're lying to you kind of deal. The trickster stuff. And then they found out the hard way that, I was right. But I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
Right.
And I never want to go back there. That was like that Brownilla cottage. It's like 2.5 hours maybe kind of from me. I forget the town now. I forget, but it was really strange. And it was just out there. Nothing at all happened in the house that much. Not really. Big deal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like there's some places you walk in, I'm like, holy crap, this is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, and sometimes you walk into people's houses, but I have to say it's kind of rare for people's houses. Mm-hmm. Not very many houses that I'm like, okay, you have a spirit here that's bad. It's usually like a protective relative around that person. Kind of spirit guiding them, So, yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
And I wonder, Kayla, if that's what you're feeling, maybe like this is off, because it could be their spirit guide, kind of like just their protective, relatives around them or something,
right?
That you might feel. So, not sure. People come in here all the time, and they're like, if they're sensitive, they're like, okay, so your dead uncle's over there. And I'm like, oh, I know. And then recently my friend Bobby Shuck, he died like in April. He's been hovering around. Like I have a really gifted friend and she's like, there he is. Oh, peekaboo. And it's like, she's like all friendly. She's like, peekaboo, he's just peekabooing. Like he's sticking his head out the ceiling or something.
Well, okay, so I get the protective spirit thing and I get what you mean by that. But
yeah,
every once in a real great while, and I mean this does not happen very often at all. I think maybe a total of 3 times in my entire life. Okay, where it's not. It's almost like that.
It's
panic insight in you starts going. You need to get the fuck out of here right now. Like
intuition.
There's something seriously wrong. Like
Right,
that you pay attention to. Pay attention to.
I feel like that about hospitals sometimes. If I walk in certain zones, like, get the hell out of here. And, usually that's the zone where you're like, there's a little girl who appears right before people die. It's like, bye-bye.
Yeah. Now, see, for me, like, one of these times, actually...
That's wannabes.
That's
wannabes.
Just driving. We were driving... And we went by this area, and, like, something about the area itself, I was just like, oh, shit. Like, we need to get, like, the fuck out of here. Like, there is something seriously wrong with this stretch of road or this area, and it's, like, making me panicky and making me almost feel like vomiting. Like, it's not okay, whatever it is.
I'll feel that way about towns. Like, towns and land. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I said, like, most of the time, I can, like, if I feel like there might be something there, but it doesn't feel, like, sinister, it doesn't feel, like, bad, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then every once in a great while, I'll get that feeling where I'm like, no, this is gonna make me physically ill, like, there's something really, really wrong.
Yeah.
Something bad.
Walker Lake in Nevada. Mm-hmm. Makes every time I go near the north end of that lake, because it's a north to south lake. Mm-hmm. Every time I go from the north end of that lake to the south end of that lake, which is where the town is, I get violently ill. Well, the reason why I get violently ill is because it's a very, very well-known submarine military base. But guess what? They've also got ETs under there, because that's what every time I get around that lake, they've got the really bad ETs that the U.S. government is working with underground, and my radar for the bad ETs goes off, and I end up getting I can never pass that entire, from the beginning of that lake to the south end of that lake, right into the town, and as soon as I'm about 5 miles out of town, everything in my body relaxes. But then I get to the point where I'm like trying not to vomit, and usually about half hour, 45 minutes later, I'm projectiling and I can't control it.
Yeah.
And that happens every time I pass that lake. Every single time. And the town is no better. I can't even stay in the town, because the whole energy of the entire town, just south of that lake, no, bad.
I
See,
tell you,
so
I've
yeah.
had that before. I've stayed at a hotel, and it was like what is it called, like Bad Billy's or something? It's in like well, I don't know what the hell it's called, like some Billy's, or they just knocked it down, and I was kind of happy that they knocked it down. But now I just heard they're rebuilding the dang thing. But it's in Kentucky. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I get what I get the idea and the feeling, yes.
But yeah, it's like I stayed in that town, and I did a reading party actually for this woman who was very the whole like what you're kind of talking about, Kayla. And I walked in, and it was very weird. Her dead husband was like hiding in the shower because he was protecting her all the time. He had died and basically I think Desert Storm or something. But she was very narcissistic and nasty. At the end, I found, but every single reading I delivered for everybody was like something traumatic and people like dying horrible ways, and I could not wait to get the hell out of there. And then when I got out of there, I stayed at a hotel that was it's this Walton, Kentucky, which I hate going through there. I hate that place. Everybody people who live there, it's very dark, lots of tragedy. Very ucky. And I went into this hotel, and I tell you, I was going to puke, and I felt like fight or flight the whole time I was in this hotel. And I think it was like the town and the hotel. Like I felt like everybody was staring at me when I walked, even like down the hallways. It was really odd. I was like calling my husband, begging him to I'm like, I don't even care if I prepaid for the hotel. I'll lose the money. I'm going home. Even though it's like a 2-hour drive. And he's like, no, you got to stay. You're crazy. And I stayed, and it was terrible. Like the next morning I woke up, I was just throwing up in the toilet, couldn't eat anything. Until I drove out of that town. I was like, oh my God, I was exhausted from fighting the darkness in that town. Right. And it was right down the street from this bar thing. And it's a famous one, and I always forget the dang name of it. But they condemned it, they knocked it down, and Misty, my friend, just told me that they're rebuilding it. And of course, the same bad spirits will be back, but they'll give tours and make money off of it, of course. Right. But it's just ridiculous. That town is awful.
Well, and that's how you get attachments too.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I was a little kid, we used to go every summer, and we'd go on a different trip to different places, and it would just be like a week-long type thing where we'd go and like Grand Coulee Dam or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, we went this one time, and we went to a place in Oregon, and I will never ever go there again because we only stayed there for like the afternoon. We had like a little picnicky type thing there, but I was like violently ill. I could not be around that place. It made me like shake. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I mean, at that point I was like 11. I wasn't old enough to realize that it's not like food poisoning. There might actually be something wrong with this place. That type of thing. Right. But I refused to ever go back. It was Crater Lake, Oregon.
Oh! Yes.
And we went up this weird little trail to like this top piece where it kind of overlooked this like weird lakey area with like a platform type thing in the middle of it. And I was like violently ill. I could not be there, and it made me just sick. And it felt like for days I was just sick.
Portals.
Yeah, I got that at Grand Canyon too, like what you're describing.
There's portals up there. There's very specific portals to other dimensions up there, but there's also portals for ETs. And if you're feeling it that bad, even as a child, that means it's typically the wrong kind of ETs.
See, now I've also, that's kind of something that I've wondered is if it's actually spirit type stuff I feel in certain places, or if it's like ET type stuff, and it just, I'm not sure how to, like how that feels different or whatever, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it happens so very rarely that I don't even think about it until it really is happening, and then I'm like, holy shit, I just need to leave. I don't sit there and try to focus on what it is or why I do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, out.
Get me
You
out.
know?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's some places that are just like full of like dark black energy, like people who are very narcissistic, like behavior wise. Like, sadly, there's like towns in Ohio, like I can't go through some, or people will be like, "Hey, I'm in this town. You want to come do a reading party?" I'm like, "No, I cannot go like to that town."
Right.
I just know all the people in that town are kind of like they're not normal. There's just something off about them, and they're very they only care about themselves. They're usually like alcoholics, very like everybody's got some kind of like abuse in their family. It's like, get out, just get out. Really dark. But when I went to Grand Canyon, it's kind of like what you described.
Wait a minute. What you just talked about, folks, what she's talking about, I want to make a clarification here. What she's talking about is the kind of people that are it's not that they've got all these bad things. It goes above and beyond that. When you're a psychic and you're feeling that kind of level, what she is specifically talking about, folks, is it gets to the detrimental of everybody around, because it not just affects the person, it's affecting their energy, it's affecting their energy, it's affecting everybody around them.
It's like sucking the happiness out of everything.
That's just what I was going to say. It's like a succubus where they literally they're feeding on the energy of every person and of the negativity that has taken place in the area, the negativity. I mean, it becomes like a paranormal negative hotspot. And when you're going through something like that, so I wanted to make a clarification, because it's not just about that they're alcoholics or that they've had all these bad things. It goes way, way beyond that. Way beyond that.
It's like a massive darkness.
Yes. Yeah. And so it can be the land, it can be the elements in the land, it can even be different sections of Fae, it can be ETs that are in the area, it can be a combination, and it can be a hotspot that literally attracts negativity. And
darkness attracts darkness.
Yes, it does. So that's why I wanted to make the clarification, because some folks are going to hear that and go, wait a minute, I'm going to be doing what now? So I just wanted to make a clarification. Please continue.
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I mean, I think if I felt like it was when she was describing the shaking and stuff. I had that at the Grand Canyon. I'm Nikki. I've talked to you about that. Like that my aunt said too. She had like a reaction like that to the Grand Canyon. And she said that, people who have gifts really can't go or have a hard time struggling. Like people will be like, oh, it's elevation sickness. But I was like shaking like you kind of described, very, very dizzy, hot and cold sweats. I had never experienced that kind of thing before. It was really nuts. And it kind of seemed like what you were talking about a little bit. Yeah. So, not sure. Could be something in the actual land. You know, I mean, that's what I think that it definitely were the Grand Canyon was.
There's sections of the Grand Canyon I cannot go near. I don't remember where they are because I was a kid at the time. But there are sections where I can be perfectly fine and have no problem with. So it is, for me, it's different sections of that area. But I totally and completely agree with what the heck you're talking about. Oh my gosh.
See, and that's how I know.
It makes a difference.
That's how I like, that's what gives me the feeling that I don't have any of those type of gifts. It's because I don't have anywhere I don't feel I should be going. So, like, the only thing that ever tells me I shouldn't is when they put me in handcuffs, because you're not supposed to be there.
No.
That's funny.
But there is no sign saying you can't be in the bank after it closes. Just saying.
Oh.
Show me on the door where it says it.
Show me the money.
Oh, no.
And show me the money.
Let's not get in trouble here.
Oh.
But no, like seriously, I don't ever get those type of feelings. Not with places. Like I
See,
I get it with people.
It's a good thing because it's protective when you have it.
I don't get it with people. Like
no.
That's the thing. Like we were working the fair for S-4 and for Forest Moon Paranormal one year, and apparently I had an energy vampire come up to me and try and talk to me, and one of the other people working with us immediately had me go into the back. Because I had no problem talking to him. I don't give a shit. Like, I
know.
In my opinion, when it comes to that kind of stuff too, if they need that from me, even just to talk, I'll always be there. Like, it has to happen.
I don't know how to put this any other way than I see Cole as like a damper. He doesn't. Not only does he not have like to where he gets weird feelings about anything or anything like that, but he actually typically calms and like dampens the amount that it
there are people
causes. Like it's
Robert's that way,
right? Like. So he's like almost like completely the opposite. Like he's typically like I can be in certain places that I couldn't handle, but if he's with me, I could handle them. If that makes sense.
Well, and I think that's what makes
perfect sense.
Honestly, me like I hate to say it this way, but it's the way I feel. So I think that's what makes me such a good damn driver.
What?
I am not that, Robert.
Thump in chat, guys.
They were saying Cole's like a damper. So I put a picture of Australian damper, which is bread cooked in the coals.
See, Cole, you are a doughy bread.
On the road, like Kayla has huge issues being on a road in a vehicle.
Yes, I do.
But like today, we had a guy pull halfway into the intersection on us. And she immediately, both arms went to her sides and she was bracing for the impact.
That's what I do.
And
I can't help it.
My immediate reaction was immediately to swerve the vehicle, and one finger went up. Right? And I know, he probably couldn't see it, okay? But it made me feel better. Right? But I feel like, and this is, we've always called it a Wegleitner trait, where we can drive anything that has a wheel and an engine. And sometimes those aren't really requirements, they're just suggestions. But like I have no problem driving on the side of a cliff with one tire actually hanging over the edge. That doesn't bother me. And I have no problem doing that at 30 miles an hour either. It just
I know somebody, they'll climb over the driver to get out of the vehicle. That's not me, by the way, because I'm like, I'd be the one peering down the embankment going, oh, cool, did you see that? Oh, sorry.
No, see, I'd be the one climbing over the fucking driver to get out the vehicle. After I unhook my 5-point harness I had to buy so that I feel safe driving Cole. Okay?
Well, we used to do that stuff when we were kids with our dad. And, like, we'd get about halfway across the mountain. And he'd look at us and say, okay, I think it's time to lock the differential. Well, in an 84 Bronco, you have to get out and go down to the tires to do it. So, whoever got the driver's side, which was hanging off the cliff, Friend, yeah, you had to climb over Dad, and then you had to hang off
Yeah, it was great.
the foot bars and just go for it and unlock it and then get back in. Friend, it was never a big deal.
Oh.
Friend.
Okay, no, Nikki.
Okay, see, I was the kid that was doing shit like that. My cousins in Canada took me and my mom up for up into the mountains in a Jeep. And I was in the back bouncing and going, yahoo, let's do this again. My mom, on the other hand, get me out of here, Benny, now.
No. Okay.
I'm loving it. I've always been one of those kids, and even as an adult, it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me.
Now, I gotta tell you, from the time I was a baby, and my mom will say this 100%, anytime she would put me in the car seat, I would start screaming until we were at whatever destination, and she would take me out of it. I
interesting.
do not like vehicles. Wow. I do not like anything that moves. I do not drive due to that fact. I have never been a vehicle person.
That is past life trauma.
So,
okay, I've got a comment. Unless you have had a traumatic, in this lifetime, a very, very traumatic experience in this lifetime with a vehicle.
No.
If you have not, then that to me implies that is a past life trauma so bad that it is something that you have to overcome in this lifetime in order to release the trauma from your soul. Because if it's becoming a complete body muscle memory, it means that your soul remembers it and it is triggering you.
Yeah, I mean, it can even be a plane crash or something. It's just a vehicle.
Yeah.
Having no control.
I don't know, because I've never been on a plane. I've never been on a plane.
That's why I think
anything like that.
That's why I think it's.
No, I'm saying in your past life, you could have died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it could be any vehicle. It could be a helicopter. It could be, anything. Just a vehicle where you had no control, no sense of control, and that's triggering you when you get in the car.
No, see, that's the thing, though, is...
What year were you?
Me? 88.
Okay.
What?
64. Rosella, are you picking up in anything in 64 with her?
Yeah, 64 to 67 is kind of when I was getting those numbers before.
Yeah, I'm getting 1964.
I was getting 1945.
Yeah, that too.
Kamikaze pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. Well, and see, that's the thing, though, is that I think if it is something from a past life in any way, shape, or form, I think I must have been the driver. Because like I said, I do not drive to this day because I am terrified of vehicles and I do not want to be in control of one. Like, I seem to be a lot better if I'm driving with people. Like, if I'm riding in the passenger seat, okay, I'll still freak out. Like, I try not to, but, like, automatically I just kind of, like, if we're going too fast, or I'm like, and I'm, like, nervous the whole time. But I will not, I don't drive one. And there's no actual reason behind it. Like, I'm not dumb enough to not know how to do it, and I've just never had a license and have no desire to ever have one.
Wow. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely from, like, a past life. I agree. I mean, that's what I would tell somebody if I was, like, like giving a reading, too. Like, this is why, because it's easily carried over that kind of trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird, because it's like ever since I was born, I do not like anything that moves like that. I don't like vehicles. I didn't like And usually, like, babies, you know, that can be, like, half of their bedtime ritual is, like, driving them around a little bit to get the and the, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, oh, hell no. I couldn't sleep. I'd freak out. I don't like them.
It's, like, sad, really, though.
I mean, Cole drives and other people drive, and I still get everywhere I need to go, and I don't know. It's never really bothered me that much. I mean, occasionally I'll be like, damn, I wish I could just get in the car and go to the store or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
But it's never really, like, impacted my life in, like, a horribly detrimental way.
Kayla, do you swim?
Yeah, I love it.
Like a rock.
Oh, shut up. No, I love swimming. I love the water.
Yeah.
Which is actually really, really weird, because everybody else in my family is, like, terrified of the water. But I love it.
No, most of you guys, like, your sisters aren't.
Yeah.
It's your parents.
It's my parents.
That's easily explained.
Yeah.
They all had family members die in water.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, my uncle drowned when he was 17. So it kind of put a damper on my mom's side of the family. And then they had this freak tide came in when my cousin, my aunt, and their 3 kids were out oyster getting, and it pulled 4 of them out, and they drowned.
Jeez. That's awful.
So on that very uplifting note.
Sorry.
Oh
dear.
We're all about positivity here on S4.
Watch out for the freezer.
Fred, it is time for us to go for the night. Thank you for listening as always. There, he's finally coming back.
Yeah.
Fran, next week's gonna be kind of a bittersweet show for us. Unfortunately, it is our son John's last show with us for a while. Mm-hmm. He'll always be welcome to come back if he wants to, but this one, his college schedule will not allow him to be on the show. So, also, if he wants any friends, he probably has to start trying to live a normal life.
Hey!
Normal is wrong.
But
my life's pretty normal.
So for his last show, he is going to pick the topic, and he already has. And
Thanks.
He is going to run next week's show for us.
Yeah.
So what is our topic for next week, sir?
Simulation theory.
Yeah.
Something we haven't talked
simulated Earth
about.
theory. But I'm going to call it something different based on what John has said all week. This is going to be the I Want to Torture My Mother show.
Hey.
Because we're also going to talk about moths, mirrors, and contortionists.
And, black-eyed children,
and
too.
black-eyed children.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Just something to give you to think about while you're working in Northern State.
Okay, you know what? I actually had a weird thing about that the other day. Is that, well, you know how black-eyed children, they, like, come and they say, like, hey, can you let me in?
Yeah.
Right? Then if you let them in, like, horrible shit's supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Well, I thought about the fact that I'm surrounded by children, like, all the time at this new job. And if one of them knocked on the damn kitchen door and was like, hey, can you let me in? I'd be like, yeah, come on in. And without even looking at that, like, I wouldn't even think about it. And I'm like, oh, God, this is a trap. I don't like it. So.
That's funny.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. We're not sure about Kayla. We'll see how many kids she lets in.
Guide him to the freezer.
She'd get locked in the freezer by then.
You're right.
Thank you for listening. Thank you very much, panel, for being here as always. And we will see you next week, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, here on the S-4 Paranormal Bunker. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you all on the outside.
Good night. Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.